professional. Oh, 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 oh. A chat with a professional. When smart is all wood. A chat with a professional. Oh, 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 oh. A chat with a professional. When smart is all wood.
Do you think that Baba Obasanjo could be on the stage while these Boko Haram people are doing what they are doing?
The objective of the private organization is slightly different from...
Nigeria is the most important country
for education. The collapse of culture in Nigeria. Even with cheating, we can't pass.
We've not done enough. There's still more. Join us.
And you'll never regret that you did.
This is the National Network News Service of Radio Nigeria. The news read by Nwora Aghadi. Hey, welcome to Petroleum Perspectives, a time when we bring you news and information on oil and gas and broadcast on 21 television stations across the country. I am Victor Nwora Aghadi.
Those were the days, and I'm sure those of you who are 30 years and above would remember that face and voice. So today on A Chat to the Professional, we are going to be having Victor Nwora Aghadi to discuss what practice was like before he left Nigeria, and of course, Nigeria's socio-economic state as we speak. Don't go anywhere. A Chat to the Professional returns with the interview segment in a short while. I'll be back. You're still watching the show A Chat to the Professional, and like I mentioned in my opening, today we are more or less going to be interviewing the interviewer, someone so many of you know well. For those of you who were still, or rather who were old enough to remember the face before he left Nigeria. A popular voice on radio, a popular face on TV back in the days. So it is my pleasure indeed today to have on set Victor Nwora Aghadi. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So long now.
Thank you, Martin. It's always my pleasure.
How has it been? I mean, for how many years now you left Nigeria? Yes. And I'm sure a lot of folks out there will be wondering, where has this guy been to?
Yes. No, we'd like to have kind of age specification at this point, because the millennials, you know, certainly don't know, can't remember anything about me. But if you're 30 years and above, you probably will remember, hey, welcome to Petroleum Perspectives, a time when we bring you news and information on oil and gas and broadcast on 21 television stations across the country. I am Victor Nwora Aghadi. But then if you're like 40 years and above, you'll probably remember the time is 4 o'clock. This is the National Network News Service of Radio Nigeria. The news read by Nwora Aghadi. They used to tell me that that I spelled my last name on the air. I said, well, because if you say Nwora Aghadi, it sounds like one name. So you had to break it in the middle. So these were just landmarks in the history of Nigeria.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, you know, a lot of things happen on social media these days. And there are times you air your opinion or just say something that you think is what you think should obtain. And somebody, because, you know, maybe the millennials who were born from the 80s would just challenge you and said, I mean, who are you? You know, where are you coming from? And they happen to know you live abroad. They say, yeah, that's how you guys just stay there and say things without knowing what's on the ground.
Verifying.
Yeah, you know, we were a part and parcel of the Nigerian nation.
Yes.
Because after the Civil War, the integration, you know, which some of us at that tender age never knew was going to be possible, you know, happened really so fast. And I think it was because, you know, Gowon had the right approach, right? And I think Nigerians actually thought we were just tired of the carnage. Let's start again, you know. So we were all eager to get the nation back on track. And I thought we did.
Well, unfortunately, somehow we derailed, you know. When I remember back in the days when you were still in Nigeria, and we had to go and queue at Nationwide studios to wait for your turn to package your show, you know, the days of analog.
Yes.
What comes to mind is what are things now in the industry? I have a lot of young ones now who all they care about is the money. The passion is gone. You remember that those days, you know, you could sleep in the studio for 2 stretch nights, trying to package a 30 minutes program.
Yes, just to get it right. I remember. I mean, you know, there was no phone.
Yeah, there was no phone.
You know, you just had maybe a phone at home if you're, you know, well-to-do, or a neighbor.
Your neighbor.
So I do remember that in the 90s, you know, from 1988 to you know, through the 90s, when I was living in Okeodo, Agege, Lagos, you know, and worked in Lagos. Of course, I spent a lot of hours in the studio. So I'll leave in the morning that I'm going to work. You know, it could be when I was in radio, and my wife knew that I would be back by 10 o'clock, all things being equal. But if she didn't see me by 12, going to 1 a.m., she just, you know, locks all the lockables and goes to bed, and know that, you know, I had a job and I was working overnight. So that was the passion, because you had to get it right. When you are pitching for a job, you know that you had to totally, you know, prove that, you know, you have the mettle to do that job. Or there are so many other people that can take it. Not too many people, you know. There are few professionals there, you know. But even if there were just 2, those 2 are serious. And
that's the only way you could deliver.
Yeah, and we had discerning viewers and listeners too.
Yeah.
You know.
In any case, how many TV stations did we have then? I mean, it was just NTA and a few state-owned television stations. Of course, we had lots of radio stations, but Radio Nigeria was the only one that was national.
Yes, that you know, all the stations had to hook up to
for the news.
Yeah.
Anyway, so long reminiscing with nostalgia. Now we are in a new era. By the way, you are now a grandfather.
Oh yes, I always, you know, give glory to God. People say, Nwora, you know, Grandpa, you. I do post stuff on Facebook. I do actually do, and I have no apologies for it. You know, I've lost a lot of, you know, some friends. I just feel frustrated. You know, this guy has posted another picture. Oh my God! And I would be like, what's your problem? The unfriend button is there. If you can't take it, just walk away. Because I see Facebook as a dynamic medium. You know, I'm not trying to sell anything for, you know, Zuckerberg. You know, he probably doesn't even need my sell. But then, you know, the point is that we humans, you know, especially Africans, that communal life kept us going.
Yeah.
You know, I knew when people, if your husband, you know, if a man bought clothes, wrappers or whatever, you know, for the wife gets, you know, that out and goes around the community showing everybody, you know, showing everyone what the husband just bought for her. So that's our nature.
Those were the days of contentment. I think all that, you know, now.
You know, you just dancing around,
you come home,
and the women will be happy for her. So I guess that's about what we do on Facebook now, because that's the nature of man. You know, your daughter buys you something nice, you know, show it to your friends. Wow, look at this gift, and they say, oh, you know, lucky you. So this is just what life is all about. It's short, so we gotta leave it.
Okay, let's get it back on track. Nigeria, the way you left it, the way it is now.
Yeah.
We are talking about back in the days, and it's sounding like we are talking a century ago.
Oh, wow.
I mean, about 20 years ago, things weren't this bad. Economically, socially, morally. Now we seem to be getting it all wrong. Back in the days, people who went to school in Nigeria and traveled overseas made a whole lot of difference. Of course, you would know that this person went to school in Nigeria.
You know, really quick, you know, we didn't even need to go abroad then.
Yes.
Because I knew when American certificate was not recognized in Nigeria. You know, Zeke and the rest. If Zeke didn't play politics, he possibly would have just become a businessman or something.
Yeah.
Because nobody would hire him with a certificate, a diploma or whatever from America.
Yeah.
You know. So so many of them that finished you know, Odeluga from Nigeria is a good example. I remember, you know, he schooled here. You know, when he got back, he couldn't get the kind of job he wanted to have in the civil service. So this was a fact that, I mean, the educational system in Nigeria was okay for us, you know, but then we still, you know, have to look at some of the deficiencies that was created in the system by the British system that we adopted. You know, it's not really working for us. But you know, but to talk about getting that education that will bring food to your table, all you need to do was, you know, just to. I mean, people used to get a job with what they call passing 6, right? Standard 6 certificate. At least you get a job of a messenger. That's all you need to work in the civil service and get a good salary. You know, that at least will keep you going. I became a broadcaster a year after I left high school. You know, a lot of my other friends that went straight to university went there and read careers that they already prepared from high school. Those that did history and the social sciences, many of them became architects or lawyers. Those that were pure sciences, maybe most of them became medical doctors. You know, and they went straight that way. So high school prepared you for, it's like having a graduate degree, and what we call graduate degree, we know what we call master's degree in Nigeria. And that I'm talking about the 80s now. I'm not even talking about the 50s. You know, so you know, we have this serious issue of arrested development, and then it's just nose diving, you know, from what I've seen recently.
You're welcome back. You're still watching A Chat with the Professional, and my guest here, a veteran broadcaster, someone who made his mark both on radio and television in Nigeria before migrating to the United States of America. Now, since you came to the US, what happened to your broadcasting career?
You know, it's something that, you know, you breathe. like I'm doing here now. I still do a lot of packaging of events.
Okay.
And I have a lot of materials on the internet, and I'm still working on getting some of them back on terrestrial television in Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm working on that, and hopefully, you know, watch your TV, the satellite stations and whatever. You know, I might just be there again soon.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Good to know. Now, Nigeria's economy. We have a new government in place, and things have been getting tougher and tougher. But the good news is that at least we have a direction towards fighting corruption and changing the way we've been doing things in the past. We just have recently published the list of, or rather the amount of money recovered that were looted, running into several billions of naira and several millions of dollars and pounds and all that. What do you think we can do as a nation moving forward to ensure that we get back to track and get back professionals, get back round pegs in round holes, and do a U-turn towards the glory that Nigeria had as a giant of Africa?
I'm happy, first of all, like you said, to see that Nigeria has actually kind of internalized, democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Nigerians just think democratically now. So if you hear people expressing frustration, that's because they feel that they can.
Yeah.
And that is democracy in action. And the leaders, apart from a few cases of people not being, court decisions not being respected,
yeah.
And some of those, they are just a kind of excesses, here and there.
Yeah.
But some of these things are always, subjective opinions that people can interpret their own ways too.
Yeah.
But that's what I think, excesses, and those are kind of overflow from our years of military rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I do believe, and this is a little bit radical. A lot of people may not understand it fully, that Nigerian problem has gone so deep that we can't just change it by incising corruption out of the system. It's not possible. It's like an apple that's gone bad.
Okay.
You remove the little bad part, most of the apple is already gone. So that is the problem that we're having in Nigeria. The system we are operating now is not working. It's not. And I thought that as a nation we agreed at a point. It doesn't matter who was there, but the whole of Nigeria, got together and said we had to have a national conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do not want to sound political about this thing, but this is, socially, Nigerians agreed on something. We have to look at that, corporate decision again,
yeah.
And see if this is going to be a way forward. And I do know that at a point in the history of the last administration, the opposition, led by, Bola Tinubu, Senator Bola Tinubu or Governor Bola Tinubu, who, is, kind of chairman of the ruling party now. Championed, leader of the ruling party, championed the the fact that Nigeria needed federalism to survive. He brought the whole crew that he had, the senators, the governors under his party then here in Chicago. I was there. The hall was packed full, and all he was talking about was federalism, as the panacea to move the country forward. Today we have to make all about turn, and we're not talking about these things anymore. Federalism is one of the ways of handling
federalism.
Yeah, true federalism, not the way we're doing it now.
Yeah.
And then, we have to go back to where the problem started. I remember when I left high school and I joined radio. Started September 24th, 1979. And I went to the admin, and they said they were preparing my papers and everything. And are you married or whatever? I said, no, I'm single. They went ahead and wrote married, So when it was time for me to go on leave, I filled out my leave papers and wrote single. The auditor called me back and said, look, what did you write here? Everybody writes married. I said, I'm not married. the point I'm trying to make was that I left high school, joined the workforce, and I wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
That's the spirit that will make Nigeria move forward today. If my parents had bought my exam papers for me, and I got a job, I wouldn't be wanting to get things right. I said, pay me as a single person. They still went ahead and paid me as a married man. I said, if you don't need the money, give it to me.
In other words, the corruption did not start.
Yes, it did. No, it's been there for a long time. But women, are paid as single. Even if you were the manager, you get that single and leave allowance. Then I think it was 60 naira.
That was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money. But then I had 120 naira.
Wow.
So even there was a time I thought I was overpaid. I told my dad, I said, I thought they overpaid me because he said, put that money in there. That was how I opened my first account in Union Bank. Put it in there, and so in case they ask to give it back to them. So that was the kind of transparency that, young people would get into the workforce and things would start changing. Today we have a lot of problems. You talk about the moral issues. I was watching a video on Facebook the other day. Somebody was asking the kids, young students in a university, how many boyfriends should a girl have? And none of them said anything less than 2.
Oh my God.
Some said 5, some said 6. And they said you have to have the one that you might eventually marry, and then you have to have the one that pays the bill.
Pays the bill. Oh yeah, sure.
What pay the bill?
It's almost enough.
So why are you in school if you want the bank to be paying your bill? So we actually need to retune the minds of our young people to know that you're going to school, you're a woman. I'm sending you to school to be independent.
What you just said is something I've researched on, and
Yes.
You'll be amazed as to what I discovered. A lot of these girls will tell you, I'm in school, no one pays my bill, my parents don't even know how I pay my school fees. And so you find out that the entire family system has collapsed.
Yes.
We now have parents who just send out their kids to school. In the first instance, a lot of them didn't even know how these kids got about their jam forms. And they get into school, nobody is asking them about their school fees. How are you paying your school fees? How are you feeding yourself? The same girl who is in school comes back home with money and food items, and you collect. That's my daughter. Thank you, my daughter.
And you don't ask her.
And you don't ask. So those moral values are completely gone. So the family system has collapsed. And that's essentially what we are seeing in the larger Nigeria. And my question now is, how do we go back to those norms, those good old days when if you left the village, for instance, without money, everybody knew you were just a job seeker, and in 6 months you come back with an SUV. People begin to ask questions. What do you do? How did you make the money?
Yes.
Because these days that doesn't count anymore.
It does not.
No matter how intelligent, no matter how
Yes.
good-willed, so long as the money is not flowing.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
cannot
If you're not making a lot of money, you're not successful.
That's it.
You see, so
We go
this is actually the point. If a girl has to pay her way through school, if you look at it, critically, that's not even a bad thing, because here young people do that.
But
Do
you have to
legitimate work.
Yeah, you
Do
work.
something legitimate.
But these
and
are
plan,
people whose sources of income you cannot verify.
Yes.
So it's very clear to you that your
Yes.
bills are being paid by someone.
Yes.
And that
So
essentially is the reason why we have a lot of men stealing.
So we have. So that's one of the basic
Yeah, sure.
reasons too. So the point I'm trying to make is that, let's face it, and I want to say this, I can defend this anywhere, no matter how much the administration, President Buhari, runs after past politicians or whatever, or even plug the loopholes now. Corruption is not going to be over in the system. No. because there are just so many. We have just said a few of them.
Yeah.
Things that these are the things that ingrained, corruption in the system, and makes it very, very difficult for Nigerians not to be corruptible in that system. So we have to be able to know exactly what. So and I think that one way this can be done is to enhance those areas, those institutions. I'm not talking about schools alone, that groom people to get to point of responsibility. That you're handling positions in government, in commerce, in industry, whatever. There has to be a way of strengthening these institutions to be able to protect and empower the young people. And this is not being done now. Nobody cares what's going on in school, so long as the child just comes out with the certificate and says that done. So it has to. The schools have to be empowered to do their jobs properly. The law enforcement, which should be empowered to do their jobs properly. And I think that's what President Obama was talking about when he said Africa needs powerful institutions, not powerful rulers. And we are saying that it's not working for Nigeria. We don't need powerful rulers. We need powerful institutions. I believe in that. And we're always happy to see guys like you. Martin, you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
You have to stay in power too. I know it's not easy.
I know.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's much time would permit on the show, A Chat to the Professional today. You will agree with me that that voice is still the same. The face may have aged a little, but it's still the same professional broadcasting voice. Those were the days when if you had to become a broadcaster, you first had to be trained on how to deploy your voice. I'm sure the younger ones who are watching and who have the interest in broadcasting would have learned one or two things, that in this industry you need passion to get the ball rolling. It's not just about the money. Yes, the money eventually will come, but you need to deliver first and foremost. And that's what A Chat to the Professional today has been able to do for us, to reminisce with nostalgia, like I said, those good old days of Radio Nigeria, NTA, and before the coming of the private stations. Till next time when I come your way, I urge you to make the show your number one, as always, and God willing, next time I'll come with another professional. Till then, I remain Martin Sobu saying stay blessed, and I'll see you again.